If you have ever looked into installing Linux, you were probably overwhelmed immediately. Unlike Windows or Mac OS, where there is basically just one version, Linux has hundreds. Ubuntu, Fedora, Arch, Mint, Debian. Why are there so many? And why can't they just agree on one? Today, we are going to explore the ecosystem of choice. To understand the variety, we first have to understand what Linux actually is. Strictly speaking, Linux is just the kernel. It is the engine of the car that talks to the hardware. But you cannot drive an engine. You need wheels, a steering wheel, and a dashboard. That is what a distribution, or distro, provides. It bundles the kernel with all the tools and applications you need to actually use the computer. The primary reason for this variety is the license. Linux is open source. Think of it like a recipe. The code is public. Anyone can take that recipe, cook it exactly as is, or change it. They can add more salt, take out the sugar, or completely change the flavor. Because people have the freedom to modify the code and share their new version, new distributions are born constantly. One of the biggest differences you will notice is the visual interface, called the desktop environment. Since the graphical layer is separate from the core system, developers can swap it out. Some distros use a Windows-like interface with a start menu and taskbar. Others mimic the Mac OS layout with a dock. And some are designed for programmers who only want to use the keyboard. The look and feel is a choice, not a requirement. Another major difference is how you get software. On Windows, you often download an installer file from a website. On Linux, you use a package manager. Different families of Linux use different formats. The Debian family uses .deb files, the Red Hat family uses .rpm, and Arch Linux uses its own system. This determines which software is available to you and how updates are handled. Distributions also differ in their philosophy on time. Some, like Debian Stable, prioritize rock-solid reliability. They use older, tested software that will never crash, which is great for servers. Others, like Arch Linux, follow a rolling release model. They give you the absolute latest updates the moment they are released. You get the newest features immediately, but there is a higher risk of bugs. Most distributions are not built from scratch. They are usually based on an existing foundation. We have the Debian family, which includes the popular Ubuntu and Mint. We have the Red Hat family, which powers the corporate world with Fedora and CentOS. And we have the Arch family for the enthusiasts. Choosing a family usually determines your package manager and community support. Sometimes, a general operating system is not enough. Because Linux is so flexible, people build versions for very specific jobs. There are distros stripped of all graphics for running powerful web servers. There are distros like Kali Linux packed with security tools for ethical hackers. There are even tiny versions designed to run on smart fridges and Internet of Things devices. In the open source world, when a group of developers disagrees on a technical direction, they do not have to compromise. They can fork the project. This means taking the code and splitting off into a new direction. This has happened many times in history, creating new branches of the family tree and adding to the total number of options available to users. So, why are there so many Linux distributions? Because different people have different needs. There is no single best version of Linux. There is only the version that fits your specific workflow, your computer's hardware, and your personal taste. That freedom of choice is exactly what makes the platform so powerful.
If you like this video, hit that like button and don't forget to subscribe. Visit codelucky.com for more such useful content.